Hi.
I feel like we were just both we've been anticipating this podcast because well one it was kind of impromptu. Honestly, I was like, "Hey, do you want to do a podcast with me?" But also, I've never had like a friend on a podcast.
I'm so glad I could be your first.
But you've been through every like so many seasons, you know?
I know.
Like
I've
so
seen
many.
I've seen it all.
I know, dude, there's a lot, honestly. And if you're watching on YouTube, you might see Elena naked at some point. I'm just kidding.
Fun.
Um, yeah, you just you'll get it when you see it. But just to kind of like intro this on a more serious note, like Elena is one of the friends that has been with me almost since the beginning of my business, right? I think that we met in 2020 technically.
Mhm.
Um, and you've just been like in so many parts of the business. Like you're one, well, actually, there's only three people ever in my life that have survived being a client and a friend and are like still a friend. The other
And
two people were fitness clients. Jess and Katie were fitness clients.
yes.
Yeah,
And I worked in your business.
right. I know. Yeah. Um,
Multifaceted. I was up your butt crack, basically.
no,
All the
literally, I know. And I think that we worked really well together. There was really never a boundary issue at all. It was so easy to separate like friendship, all that. And I would say that we're significantly closer today than we were like last year, the year before, whatever. Like we've only gotten closer. And a
time.
lot of that's for several reasons, right? Like we're going to talk about your evolution and complacency in relationships. We're going to talk about friendship breakups. We're going to talk about why that happens. And I just wish somebody would have maybe warned me when I started the business that your circle's not going to be the same. And honestly, it's a good thing.
Yeah. It gets smaller.
Right. And I think you and I have had many conversations where, like, okay, starting out with the more, well, I don't know, I think we should save dating for the end. Dating feels like more fun. We can talk about dating at the end.
Talk
Let's talk
about
about
dating.
friends first, because this all started because I had lost two friends, best friends, in like a 6 month time frame. And it was simultaneously as I was acquiring IFCA. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Right? Because on one hand, I had you and a few of my other friends who were like really cheering me on. And then I had two people that were just watching every story, saying nothing, but then making me feel like I don't know, wasn't providing value to their life, so to speak.
And
And
then not saying anything about it.
right. And this is where I will get your perspective on it because obviously, like, you know everyone that's ever been close to me, right? And this episode is not about like tea spilling or whatever. It's really about, hey, how can you decipher who is actually a great friend? Because for me, I've lost a lot of friends throughout the last few years. And I've always noticed the trend of anytime I've really leveled up in my career, someone doesn't make the cut. And that sounds horrible.
Yeah. It's like a shedding
Right. But I
almost.
also like don't get a warning, you know?
Yeah.
So from your perspective, because like I guess let me ask you this. Like you've been with me through so many seasons, but what do you think has held our friendship together through the seasons?
I think one of the first things is that, right, you mentioned earlier, like we're probably closer now as friends than we even were when I was in like multiple facets of your life. Like we had multiple things going on with different, routes of communication and different interactions. And I think that, at least for me, what has set our friendship apart is that when I no longer was in the mentorship, and then when I was no longer within the coaching mentorship, that space didn't create more space. That space just filled up with more friendship. Does it make sense? Like we filled the gap with more friendship, more connection. And I think that that was the difference. And I also think too, I you had had a very frank conversation with me like during these transitions, and we always handled those scenarios with respect. Like when it was time for me to no longer be a mentee of yours when I was still running my business, the conversation was, this is not contingent upon our friendship. Like client or no client, like we're still good. And I felt very confident in that because we never let the boundaries slide. Like there was never any, we had very clear, like when we were talking about friend stuff, we were talking about friend stuff. We were talking about work stuff, it was work. It was mentorship, it was mentorship, right? There was very clear boundaries in that. And I just trusted you. Like what you say is what you mean because you've always been that way. And so I was like, cool, I will take that as gospel truth. Like, sounds good, good to me. And same thing when I left sort of your employ essentially prior to all the transition when FCA was still FCA and I was, coaching in there. And I got this new opportunity with the current company that I'm with. And I called you. I remember like I called you on the phone and I had the decency and the respect to just be like, hi, this is what's going on. I have this cool opportunity. I'm going to take it. I've thought about this and this is how we can, I'm not going to drop this. We'll do everything the right way. And we did. Like neither of us ever tried to like pull the rug out from the other person in those transitions. And so I think that it created just a sense of safety, like emotional safety. Like we were just very honest with each other when those transitions happened. And then in the gap that was made, the time that was otherwise spent doing other things, we again just filled that with just chit chatting, more phone calls, still planning trips, like doing those things, right? The friendship didn't change. The friendship just had more room.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of, the way that I've seen it, at least from my perspective. And I think that goes to show you that whenever you have those friendships, you either are, and you do this too, you take people for who they are. And you always see the best in people, right? And so you, I always laugh. If anybody needs to know this funny joke, I always joke with Taylor and I'm like, do people realize you're actually nice?
That is the fucking that is the joke.
Like, do people actually know that you're not a bitch? Like, you're actually one of the nicest people on the face of the planet. Like, is a marshmallow inside, like verified marshmallow, slightly toasted.
Right. Like I think I know it's so funny because I don't even know like where that stemmed from, but it's so true. And to your point, I mean, I've always been a little more guarded with boundaries and coaching because transparently, if somebody is my client, especially for business mentoring, I don't take that investment lightly. So I think you were one of the few clients that actually was my friend, like true friend, like simultaneously while working together, right? And you and I are what sets us apart, in my opinion, is just the communication,
Right.
right? Because when I think about friendships and the breakups, right? Let's kind of talk about why people might leave. And I'm going to throw some things at you. And if something comes up, like a scenario, chime in on maybe specifics, right? So for me, anytime I've had growth, I've always done my best to communicate seasons of turbulence, communicate seasons where I might be a little less absent, um, communicate kind of how I'm feeling without minimizing space that I have for you and your life, right? And when I think about this acquisition, it was definitely something that was super, super challenging, and I didn't know what the fuck to expect. I just was open about it, right? And at times it was probably very all consuming of my conversations because it was literally my entire life for a very long time and still is. But I think there are two things that kind of trigger people to leave. One is your success starts to become a mirror of their stagnation, right? And then the second thing is I think there's this what I like to call resentment debt, where they've been keeping score for a long time of everything they felt they deserved and didn't get. And their exit is like the final trigger,
I'm
right?
so sorry, but like people think they're owed shit, but nobody works harder than like no one is gonna outwork you.
Are you saying
Like
like me or like in general?
you, just
Oh,
you, like you as a person. So like in my head, I'm like, okay, anybody who's like looking at you and like is a friend with is in friendship with you and then sees your success and is feeling like, well, why don't I have that? I'm like, because you didn't work for it. It's not the maths.
Yes.
You just didn't do the work.
So
I,
when you think about, and also we're not leaving this podcast without talking about like your success too, but I will say what I think it's slightly different in the triggering effect because the people that were friends of mine that left were also entrepreneurs,
yeah,
right? I think that if I had like my friends that are still my friends, they have careers that are completely separate than that.
yeah.
And I'm
So there's
not
no
saying
mirror.
right. Like it's a little bit different. And so I don't know, can you give me like an example of maybe where you started to see that like resentment debt maybe building up or signs that a friendship was maybe like not a healthy one? Like if we both look back, because again, like you know everything I'm referring to. Um, but I'm just curious to hear kind of your thoughts. I know it's like a hard question, but also when I look back and I see
If you
I
don't want to go to the nice steakhouse, say you don't want to go to the nice steakhouse. Did I say
that
that?
is
Oh,
that is a good one. That's also when we say steakhouse, we mean steakhouse. Like there's no that's actually we're talking
not a
about steakhouse.
euphemism. It just,
Yeah, I will say that was hard for me, and this is gonna make me sound kind of like a bitch, but I I think you reach a certain level of success. And I'm not talking about making a ton of money, but like a place in your adult life where a trip doesn't break the bank for you, right? Like I don't think that I can be friends with somebody that like can't get a hotel.
yes.
And I also don't want to cover the hotel.
No. And
Okay.
you shouldn't be expected to.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, go to the steak restaurant and stay at the fucking Cosmopolitan. And if somebody complains about it, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. And then when you book the thing,
Yeah.
like if like our last trip, for example, in May, or
Oh, yeah, yeah. Arla, yeah, yeah.
it was like, hey, I booked the car and I booked the Airbnb because we were traveling to a city that you
Yeah, yeah.
knew. And it was like, okay. And I think I Venmoed you like that day or the next day or
Yeah.
something like that. Because that's normal.
It is normal to Venmo somebody before the trip happens, yes.
Yes.
But I also will say I've always been the friend that like literally makes a fucking itinerary because that's just how I am. I think my love language is planning, one of them. Playlists and planning. Really, that's me. Um, but yeah, I think like what I noticed with like one friendship that ended, because for me it was so abrupt, guys. Like when I tell you that this is somebody that I talk to on the phone every single day for over 2 years, and then all of a sudden, like just slow fade ghosted me, have not spoken since. And when I look back, it's not that I see signs of, oh, I saw this coming, but when somebody doesn't do the work to work on themselves, and it doesn't matter how much potential you see in that person, like if somebody is consistently, dating narcissists and dating people that need a lot of validation and they need a lot of validation and they have, I mean, we're talking about somebody who did not want to spend time with you in public because you allegedly got too much attention, right? Like that is something and somebody that is going to ultimately start to build this narrative of, oh, well, when I'm around Taylor or Elena, because Elena is super confident, for example, I feel lesser than. So naturally, they're the issue, not me.
I'm sorry, hot friends are part of the outfit.
Amen. No, literally, why do I want to have friends that aren't fucking hot?
And that's not like, oh, you have to look a certain way.
No, it's a
Like
confidence thing.
your confidence, how you
Yes.
carry yourself, how you
Yes.
feel you take up space in the world. And that's it. Hot friends are part of the outfit. Show
When I was in, no, literally, when I was in, where was I recently? Miami with Aaron.
Yeah.
we went to like a nice dinner and we were hanging out and somehow this got brought up and I said that. I said, I only want to have hot friends. And she goes, yeah, fucking same. And she literally was like, but hot is how you carry yourself. I said, totally. It totally is. It's not about aesthetics. It's the fact that when you and I go out, like we represent hot, so to speak, in completely separate
Yeah.
fashions, right?
I just
Like,
the outfits
yeah.
in May.
Oh,
It was like you and then me. And it couldn't have been more you and it couldn't have been more me. And it was like complete opposites. It was great.
I know. I mean,
It
it's good though.
was great.
Like it's good. Yeah, like it's but again, it's like you know who you are. I think that's like what it comes down to is I was always the fixer. I've always been the fixer. And I don't mean to, but I somehow have always attracted both men and women that are like aspiring to be better. And it oftentimes creates resentment, you know? And I want to say, like, as you're growing your business and you're listening to this, it is okay to be friends with people from forever ago or whatever, but I think there's like tiers to friendships. Like there's the friends from high school that maybe didn't really do a whole lot with their lives. You hang out once or twice a year, you get dinner, you catch up, that's fine. But then there's like the majority of your friends, and they need to be equally as ambitious as you in some
Whatever
something.
they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, you can't be the most ambitious in the room. Like you just can't be. It's going to create an issue, you know? And if you're not strong enough, like they will pull you down because I think about the friends that left and what the conversations were, and a majority of the conversations was like me coddling that person. Like me making them feel better, me being the therapist. When I think about what they gave to me, I'm like, I don't fucking know, honestly. Like you and I were literally in a rock star energy tent, okay? Like everyone picture this. We are at Louder Than Life. I am waiting on who fucking knows to play. You're waiting on your husband to perform. By the way, if you listen to that new album, you're gonna fucking hate it. Did you listen to the
I
re-release?
know. I
You
hate
listen to
it
that
so
re-release? You're such a I hate you.
bad.
I fucking hate you. This girl over here is like all the memes I just have been sending them to you. All the memes are Bring Me the Horizon because you think Ollie is like so cute. And I'm
And then he
laughing.
cut his hair and it's
So so like if I were to describe Elena and I as like, you know, emo kids, right? Elena is like all-time low emo, right? And I'm just like very niche scene kid. Like that's the best way to put it. And I just remember the day that I discovered you thought Ollie Sykes was hot. And I was like, how the fuck did I not know this about you? This was like 2 years ago. So all I have to say is recently, because I feel like this is the era of 20-year anniversaries of everyone fucking
yes,
re-releasing
it is.
shit.
Oh
Which
my God.
listen, I'm living my best life, okay? But when Bring Me the Horizon re-released this album, I'm like, fuck yes. And I knew Elena was going to be like, this is horrible. And I'm like, no, this is literally Bring Me the Horizon, though. It's okay. You can keep singing like Follow You and Throne, and I will support you for every one of those songs. It'll be good. Because honestly, the playlist that we saw in person, it was very like Elena Taylor, Elena Taylor, Elena
It's a good
Taylor.
mix. It's a good mix.
But anyway, I digress. But no, I remember we're sitting in this energy tent drinking our fucking sugar-free rock stars, and we weren't talking about you know, the festival that day. We were talking about your progress at work and how excited you were and the acquisition. And we were both just like, it didn't feel like work talk. We were
Right.
talking about our success as women growing, developing, and then talking about where we were going to celebrate for dinner.
Right.
Like, it wasn't complaining about a girl we don't like or, ew, did you see this on Instagram? And like, that's who I want to surround myself with.
Yeah. The conversations have to be on a similar level.
I
And
know.
that's not to say that like people can't vent or complain or what have you, but you also have to watch. This is what I've learned. You have to watch where the blame of that vent, where the focusing is. If somebody's complaining and they're not looking for a solution to the problem, if somebody is having a problem and really any problem that you're probably facing in business or in life, for the most part, is probably your own fault.
I think
So look in the mirror.
I think that some people need you to stay small to feel okay.
Yeah.
And essentially, when you don't, they start to build resentment because you like left, right? And I don't know, ultimately, and you know this about me, I hate when I think that somebody is like upset with me or frustrated. Like it drives me insane. Like the second that I notice a slight energy shift, I'm like analyzing every word, every punctuation, everything. And I'm never wrong about it. That's the fucking problem. Like that is the problem. I'm a toasted marshmallow and my gut is so fucking on it.
Yeah.
And
You're very attuned to the people around you
I know, I
and
know.
the interactions. And that's I think what's been hardest to see is, and I think that was what's been the hardest for you, is that these weren't just like my eyeball decided to freak out.
Lash probs.
Love that you guys are seeing this right now. Um, the issue was, and this is with any relationship, when you have a certain, whether it's friendship or colleague or coworker or your boss or your significant other, you have a certain type and style of communication with that person, and somebody suddenly shifts hard left. Something's off
I know.
immediately.
Yeah.
And that's being attuned to the other person, and your nervous system, your body really physically adapts to that. And so the second that it changes, your body goes ding 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 ding. What's happening? Like alarms are triggering, and it's like, okay, how do I figure out what's going on and like patch it up? How do I fix it?
Mhm.
Right? Because it's causing distress within your nervous system when that shifts. And so that to me has been like that's the part that's blown my mind a little bit, is that it was like 60 to 0 across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And it confused even
Mm-hmm. Yes. And
me too.
the fact that like
Break on.
this person thought that they were going to continue being friends with you is like what's so interesting to me too, because of like the loyalty. I don't know. I mean, I just think about anyone. First of all, I don't have a lot of like friendship groups. I've never had that. I'm very like, one to one, as you obviously know, and you are too. But if I ever have a group or a group of three or four, whatever the group is, right? Like if somebody really does something to wrong somebody that I love and care about, I can't be like, oh, well, they did that to you. They won't do that to me. I could never. I literally could never do that.
Weird.
Right. That'd be like me being friends with your ex. Well, like we're cool. It's fine. Like, no, that's not how that would work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Were there any like warning signs that you could see though? Like I mean, because you knew friends that I'm talking about, and like, was there ever anything where you're like, man, that's gonna be challenging, or did this all surprise you too?
I mean, it did.
Yeah,
Because I knew as much as you did, because I
yeah,
had received similar communication in one of those
yeah,
situations. Um,
yeah. I think there were a lot of like micro triggers over the last
yeah,
year. You know, um, I also think too, like
I
when
think there was a lot
somebody's
of things that built up that never went addressed for
correct.
some reason.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
mean,
one thing to be like annoyed or have a thing, but it's like if you feel like yourself constantly ruminating on this one aspect of how you're interacting with somebody and you don't actually do anything about it,
yeah,
and then you blame the other person, it's like, well, you let this fester for so long
yeah,
without actually addressing it. Like, we all have days, we all have moods, we all read things wrong, we all get in
sure.
a tiff over something or spun up about something, and I don't know, and that's normal, that's human. But when you have like a recurring something that's bothering you and you don't do anything about it, and then you make the other person the problem, but you never actually addressed what was bothering you.
And that's, I think, the theme that I've always seen. Like it truly, for me, the biggest issue, or I guess the main theme that I've seen is that more like resentment debt type friend, where for some of them, it might be less just less obvious than other friends that have left. But I mean, man, I think about a friend I had years ago that you never met that quite literally left their job, essentially became me,
Oh, you told me about this.
and then fell in love with me, and then decided that they hated me and turned my entire friend group against me. And this was like all in the first year that I started a business. And I was like, what is wrong with women? Like, what the fuck is wrong with women? Because if you ever did anything that upset me, I would bring it up so that it didn't happen again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just like sit and then one day be like, fuck you or blow up at you, right? But also, too, I have so much love and respect for you, our friendship, all those things. And so when I think about like these friendships in the last year, it's really crazy because I think about the final straw where like one I was ghosted and one I was sent an email. And it's like if that email truly was like the final straw, that person had been mentally leaving for months and just didn't know how to actually do it. And for me, the blind side is really the hard thing,
Yeah.
you know? Um, I think it's like the small thing that ended up being the reason was just your really convenient exit.
Yes. Yeah.
Although I don't think I could put a price tag on our friendship. So
No.
That's that's all I'm going to say about that. That's on that. So, whatever. I will say too, you can only be friends, in my opinion, for so long. Proximity, when somebody is really, really struggling financially, and maybe you have thoughts about this because you've helped friends out, right? Where they've stayed with
Uh,
you, it's maybe caused some strain in the relationship.
yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times too, it's one of those things where I'm the person that like I will go out of my way to help somebody,
Yep.
right? So like I have had a couple friends who left like crappy relationships and I was like I don't want you to jump into like an apartment lease or something, like you need to like take a beat and like have a safe place to land for a little while, and you know so like come stay at the house and like you know what have you. And so that to me is like my dad always did that when we were growing up. Like our house was the house that like it was like Uncle Bob's hotel basically when I like all through my childhood. Somebody was going through the police academy or needed a place to stay for a few months while they got settled after moving or what have you. Like that was our house, right? That was our house. And so I extend the same courtesy to close friends. It wasn't like random friends, right? And that is one of those things where it can turn out totally fine or it can cause some strain or and I think that those things can eventually, like if it does cause strain, they can eventually be resolved, right? Sometimes there's a third party involved that adds to the strain, and that's a whole other conversation for another day. But Taylor knows what I'm talking about. And you do support people, but so true that you eventually move up to a point where if you are doing well enough from a financial perspective, but you're around people that are either trying to keep up with you or can't go do the things that you want to do, like what would our friendship be if like we couldn't like go on a trip, right? And I'll use a great example right now, even of like you had mentioned to me, like, hey, let's maybe plan something for the end of the year, like a big trip. And I was just like, I would love to, but I just like, obviously, I just moved and my living expenses quadrupled overnight. I need a couple months to get my feet under me to see like exactly how things are going to flow before I commit to anything. And that's a normal adult response to make of like, I'm not going to overcommit myself to something, even though I really want to do it, just, but I'm going to say that.
Mhm.
I'm not going to just go along with it for shits and giggles
And then get really mad at me because it was
prove
expensive.
to prove something, right? To prove a point, right? Like it doesn't it I don't know. It just that you know what I mean? And so like you have to know as an adult where you can say no in your relationships and go, "Hey, maybe this we table this for like the summer or like this other time. Can we do something like smaller in the meantime? Like that seems more feasible for me." And it'd be like, and you would never be like, "Ew, I can't believe you go do this with me." Like,
No, because at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I don't understand the whole like no concept because it's not about no, I don't want to. It's like, hey, financially it doesn't make sense now.
right,
But I think that this past friendship created resentment because I don't think this person actually wanted to do the things they were saying yes to in general,
right.
including the finance component, right? And I think that's like a whole other aspect. Because I think that when I see a person and they act in a cool manner based on who they're around, which is completely different. Like you can't fucking go to a music festival that's alternative and then turn around and pop Molly at a fucking rave. Okay? Those two things don't make sense. They fucking don't. They literally don't. They don't. You would never catch, first of all, I don't do drugs, but you would never catch me. Don't ever invite me to Red Rocks again. Hey, can we talk about Red Rocks? Honestly, that's such a funny memory now.
I
That's
was,
still my that's still my photo of you and I, the blurry photo.
was
Oh, wait, no, that's from Van Camino.
I'm
That's
sure
from the
that
Van Camino. Just kidding. That was also fun. Um,
that
hey, guys, you should probably break up with someone if they leave you at a concert on your birthday. That's all I'm saying. Or you could logically conclude as the girlfriend, maybe I can just never go to a show again. I'll be fine with that. You know?
one word, crusty.
That is the word. That is the word. And not because there's a blackout tattoo involved.
No, very different reason. It's a vibe.
And that's going to be a great segue into talking about relationships. So, can I just say, I am so excited that you are recently single. I've honestly been waiting on this moment for many years. However, I've not said that out loud. And I'm just so excited. Like, I'm so excited.
But do you remember we were in the parking lot of the grocery store and in Texas?
Mhm.
I remember a very specific conversation. I don't even remember what trip this was. We were in your Jeep. We were pulling out of the HEB,
Oh,
going back to your
this
house,
is after the conference.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. And I remember sitting in the front seat and being like, I forget what I was going to say. I forget exactly what I said, but I said something along the lines of, and this is not, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but I remember saying like, I know that this isn't right, right? How things are, the dynamic and the relationship that I'm in right now, and I don't know how to fix it. And these are all things that that need to be addressed, but I don't know how to do it, and I will have to just think about it another day. But if it doesn't get fixed, I don't think it's gonna last. And they never got fixed for various reasons, right? It takes two to screw things up to be, I'll put that out there, but they didn't get fixed. And now I am single, like 3 years later.
Well, and that was again like, it's this is not the point that I need to make necessarily,
And
but what's been so cool
we
for
know.
yeah, what's been cool for me to watch is how much you've grown because everything that you set out to do, you achieve, right? So
Yes.
you left teaching and you started the business. You built a successful six-figure coaching business. That no longer aligned with the life you wanted. You took an opportunity that combined two things that you're obsessed with, which is functional health and education. And you now are with a startup that you love and you are on track to, again, crush it financially, crush it with your career. And that is also why I think our friendship has really grown too, because you are significantly less stressed now than you were running a business, you know?
And there was a lot of like other chaos too. Like I think part of why
Yeah.
I started the business was partially out of necessity, right? Like I was
Right.
losing my job teaching. My dad had just gotten diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I needed more flexibility to be present with my family. And so the business was the next thing that made the most sense. I didn't, start the business to be a business owner, but I loved what I was doing and I had a passion for the work, and I'm a figure it out type of person. I don't know how to do that. I will figure it out. I'm not good at that yet. Well, I guess I'm going to learn. Like I have I'm what I call like a lifelong learner. Like if there's a skill I can acquire that's going to help me, then I'm going to learn how to do the thing. And that's been true even in my current role as well. Like there's so many things, like my role in the startup has completely shifted, and I'm so privileged to be in the position that I'm in. It was crazy transitioning because when I took the job, I had a full roster of clients. I was working in FCA and I had mentees, and I had to scale all of that down while also working full time.
I get it.
Wild times, but I was so excited for the opportunity because it was one of these things where I'm like, wow, I have an opportunity to contribute something that can change this landscape of what we have access to in this country, that's aligned with the work and the mission that I want to do. I'm just going to have a team, more resources, more of myself to give to it, because I'm not going to have to worry about the marketing. Like there's a whole department that does that. You know what I mean? So it allowed me to really like flourish and be in a good spot, right? Just across the board, like of being able to really look at my life and go, am I mission aligned? Am I values aligned? Am I doing the things that I want to do? Am I challenging myself to grow in the ways that I find valuable? Or am I just growing to check a box on Instagram? And there was just that point in time where I had to sit and ask myself, what is it that I really want to do? Right? How do I want to have the impact? Does it need to be down this path, or can it be down this path? And I'm very happy with the choice that I made. Some people might go, well, Elena, that sounds insane. Like, why did you shut your business down?
No.
And but
No.
at the same time, it was like, but this, I'm having so much more fun. And you are right, I am significantly less stressed because I'm not juggling things that I have resistance to, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of things that you have to do as a business owner that you don't necessarily like or want to do or have a skill set to do, and you gotta nut up anyway and like get it done. And you have to have a level of grit and a level of see it through. And then also at the same time, right, the majority of the time I was running my business, my dad was sick and then he died, and that was a whole thing. And so it felt like I'm ready to move into whatever comes next in this. But everything I did in my business set me up to be in this position
Totally.
that I'm currently in right now with the current company. And it's like I couldn't have imagined a better trajectory or a transition. The skill set that I have now is a direct, and what I do now is a direct fruit of being in education and being a teacher and having my master's in education, and also coaching and building a successful business in the functional space. And it's like a marriage of those two things, right? Those two skill sets combined. And that's where you have to see, how are people leveling up? How are they taking opportunities? How are they seeing the challenges set forth for them? And how do they look at them, step back, take your ego out of it, right? Doing what is meant for you versus doing what you think you should do because you're trying to prove it to somebody else. That's going to create resentment of, I'm going to just push through and do this thing because, well, other people I see are doing it and my friend over here is doing it this way, and so if I don't do it this way, then I'm it's somehow wrong. And like, not to be woo woo or alignment, but like you have to go back to your values.
Totally.
What are your values? What are your core values? What impact do you want to have? It doesn't necessarily have to be the same path as the person next to you, because if you're square peg round holing it, you're going to be really unhappy and really unsuccessful.
And I mean, there's so many like little nuances I could pick from that, but you know, and then sometimes those people end up asking you for jobs,
Yeah.
you know, um, because they tried proving it for too long, right? The thing with entrepreneurship though is like, yeah, we can talk about growing the business, but like at the end of the day, aside from like where you're at now,
Right.
there always was this kind of like friction when it came to like scaling past a certain level.
Yes.
Almost like internally something was just holding you back, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm just so happy this opportunity came about.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, while all of this is happening, you are also dating somebody that is slowly, I don't want to say building resentment, but they're not growing on the same trajectory, right? And so what I've seen from you is like you've not been linear for a second at all. You've
Yeah.
constantly evolved while your partner was stagnant, right? And eventually, in my opinion, that is what led to
Yes.
the actual split up. And so, not that you need to go through that whole thing, but what
Okay.
advice would you maybe give to you 5 years ago that somebody might need to hear?
If you're already wondering if it's the right fit, it's probably not the right fit. If you have any doubts, if you are afraid to share certain things about your success, your growth, your what you're learning, what you're doing, um, it's very difficult to hear from the person that you're with. Oh, all you talk about is work. Well, because I'm very passionate about what I do. It's
And
not,
not complaining. Like this is not Elena complaining. This is like her getting excited about a project.
yes, like me, like I'm like riffing on, I'm like, we're building this and like this is going in and then we get to do this and like, yeah, like the work. And then when I would be like, oh man, like I am a little stressed, like things have been crazy. We got this extra thing and like these deadlines are still these deadlines and like I just got to like buckle down and get to it. It was always like, well, are they paying you more to do this? And I'm like, no, this is my job. Like I'm the head of a department at a health startup.
Can
I
we
this
share can we share some details that are funny out of context?
sure.
Okay. Okay. Detail number one. This man is in his 40s and you had a roommate also. Let's talk about everything that contextually seems insane, but you sat through it because I know someone needs to hear this. I know someone does. I know someone does. And mind you, listen, I never said anything. I just was like, whenever you need me, I'm here. I never, ever, ever was like, yeah. Because ultimately, this is not a bad dude. He just wasn't the
No,
right
he's a
fit for
good
Elena.
man.
He
And
wasn't
there
the right fit for Elena.
and there
That's
was a lot of good in the relationship.
yes, yes. But
It wasn't right.
correct.
For
Correct.
so
It's
many
just
reasons.
not, yeah. Okay, so that's the first thing is like you dealt with a roommate. 10 years in, no ring, but you found out that he had a ring for 18 months,
Close to.
but just couldn't find the right time because your dog died. So, because your dog died. So, I don't know. That reminds me of the time that one of my friends, who is also no longer my friend, when my boyfriend died, she didn't talk to me uh, for at least a month and then sent me an email to cancel her macro coaching.
Wild.
I know.
Wild
Watches my
behavior.
story every day, though, baby. So there's that. She's probably gonna listen to this podcast.
Listen, we love the engagement. Thank you for the
I don't know. Okay, so other things that are crazy, right? You defended this man for spending over a month with his mother in the summer.
yeah.
Okay, that's all I got. And also, this man could not remember where the fuck I lived after 5 years. Is that the one? Yes, bitch. I am the one. But jokes aside, you learned a ton. He was not a bad person. There was no animosity. But I do think that complacency, like, is really easy to fall into.
I mean it was complacency and I want to say not want to say I want to say career, but also not want to say career. But there
Sure.
was it was a this is where I'm at and I'm fine with this. and this is what my life looks like, and I'm fine with this. And I think that I have a respect for that level of contentment to a degree, but I also am an individual where like I'm constantly growing, I'm constantly learning. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, and I'm 35. Like I don't know what I want to be so open to all of the things and opportunities that life will be able to bring. And if you've already boxed yourself into something, and then your partner or has boxed themselves into something, and you're a person who is constantly growing, and not only that, but like the amount of time and money and effort that I've put into my mental health, into therapy, and becoming more emotionally resilient, and to learning about myself and to learning about other people so I can be a better communicator, be a better friend, be a better partner, be a better daughter, be a better sister, right? Of recognizing that like no, my life hasn't been terrible. I've not, had like majorly tragic things happen to me, but there's stuff that's affecting me and it's negatively impacting the other people in my life. And that is a problem. And you're doing this type of work to just be a more evolved version of yourself always, because there's always another layer to peel back. And that doesn't mean that who you are in the moment doesn't have value, doesn't mean that who you are in the moment isn't worthy. It just means that life is constantly evolving. Who you are is constantly evolving. The seasons that you're going through require a different version of you. And if you're not willing to learn how to step into that, you're staying stagnant. And then that stagnation, because you're not on the same path anymore and you're living two separate lives, creeps into the relationship. And now you're both complacent, and now you're both taking things for granted, and now you're both not prioritizing each other, and then that path just continues to diverge and diverge and diverge, and then there's that lack of communication. It will eventually implode. And so I think that there's something to be said for, when you're in a relationship, right, especially romantic, there has to be like a level of ambition or a level of desire for growth as a human present. It doesn't necessarily mean that the person that you're dating also has to be an entrepreneur and want to run 5 businesses and want to go acquire a bunch of, things.
I
And
don't think that entrepreneurs should date entrepreneurs, to be honest. I don't.
no, probably not, to be quite honest. You're absolutely correct. But you can be ambitious in other ways. You can be constantly growing in other ways. And that energy has to match. It has to match.
Well, I told you this. If you're a girl listening to this and you're now maybe second guessing your relationship or analyzing it, I'm telling you right now, if you are not dating a man that is at least two times your ambition, it's not going to work. I'm telling you. Like, if you are really hungry and growing the business, like, you need to be with a man who is double your ambition. Otherwise, he's going to feel like it's a competition, which is going to damage his little baby fragile ego, right? And so I think for a man, it's not the same, like looking at it differently. But what you were experiencing was like, yes, this guy was complacent, he was cool with his job, but he got to a point where he's older than you and was like, "Oh, you know what? I think I actually do want this stay-at-home wife and picket fence life." And you're kind of like, we did not talk about that, right? And so, it just goes to show that you guys were kind of like two ships passing in the night for a hot minute. And yeah, and I just don't want anyone to ever feel like they're stuck, because they're not. They're being single is not a fucking death sentence. Like, it's really not. I think I'm too good at being alone, to be honest, but I don't really want to, well, I got some weird shit, but it's like, yeah, you just don't, I don't know. I'd rather have my weird shit than Bob in financing on, a Friday night. So
Yeah. People are like, are you like dating? And I'm like, no. They're like, but don't you want to get married? I'm like, yeah.
also, you just got out of a relationship like
Like,
2 months ago,
yeah,
3 months
it's like
ago.
it's like fresh. It's like fresh.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me live in my like I've got a console table I got to put together. I got
You have
wall
been
I still got
single
to put out.
since you were in your fucking early 20s, dude.
I'm like, let me breathe a little bit. Like let me just exist. Let me do a little bit of healing. Let me just live my life and refigure out, you know, who I am and what I need and what I want
I
before
love single Elena because single Elena, I think, is the standard that you lost along the way. I'll give you examples. You are actually not a bad texter. You actually are a really fantastic texter. But you built this like identity around like, you know, USPS response times.
3 to 5 business days.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and I'm like, no, that's not the case. Like literally responsive. Um, like I don't know, like that's just like the best thing I can say, but I think that our friendship has also really strengthened in the last like I would say 6 months, not like just the last three, but the last six because you probably were feeling the ending kind of coming and maybe like intent like maybe just like separating yourself. But it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I you telling me that you just can go to a coffee shop and not worry about it. Like, I just think you're fucking living your life. I think that you've gotten hotter in the last 3 months. I think that I've never seen you take this many fucking mirror selfies, dude.
I love
So,
the new movies.
I mean, Elena's feeling herself, honestly. Like, I get it. She's feeling herself. And that's the thing. It's like you're fucking successful, and I really think you're with a man that was not intentionally doing this, but just because of the proximity, you were dimming your light unintentionally.
I was playing small.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not and in the sense that it's not that I wasn't trying harder, but I'm like I just was less of myself.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't doing certain things that I wanted to do because I was like, I don't want to do this because I don't want to start an argument. And that's not, and that was, that's a terrible place to be, especially when you're in that place with somebody that you do have a lot of love and respect and affection for. Of, I don't want to rock the boat, so I'm not going to do this thing. And you don't think in the moment that it's that big of a deal, but it chips away at you. It really chips away at you. And my one of my best friends, Lauren, called it when I was going through all of this. And I just have to say, like, you also have to have good friends around you who will be honest with you if you're overreacting or if you're underreacting. Like telling you everything that was going on, and like you and like my friend Lauren and Brittany have like been, and like my friend Cassidy, like everybody has been, and my brother too, right? I'm great. My brother is fantastic. Of like, no, you're not overreacting. No, you're not crazy. No, this is not okay. Like, this is actually really kind of messed up. And no, you should not be making yourself small. You need people to remind you who you are when you're struggling and when you're feeling like you've kind of lost yourself a little bit. Like, when you feel like kind of floating and you're like, feel like I'm just going through the motions.
And not for selfish reasons.
Like,
Because you know those people that are like, oh, well, I'm single, so I want my friends to be single. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
we're giving you advice from like very, I mean, yes, we love you, so I guess it's like biased to an extent, but it's like, hey, this has been going on long enough that now that you're like sharing this, because I think there's a lot that you just kept quiet about too, you know?
There's
Because,
a lot I didn't say.
yeah,
Yeah,
because when you say it out loud, it becomes fucking real, and then you're like, how can I say this out loud and defend it?
I know.
You
And
know?
then you say it out loud and you're like, oh, I can't explain, I can't justify this anymore. And there's something crazy too. And I think I told you this, I think in another conversation that we had one day, my friend Lauren, what she had said to me, the point I was trying to make before my squirrel brain went off, is she's like, your life is not actually going to change that much. The way you live your day to day and the things you do, she's like, you're already living separate lives. And I do fear she was absolutely correct, because people are like, oh, what's changed about your life? And I'm like, my address,
You sleep better,
I sleep better.
you're
I,
hotter.
I just, I have more tattoos. That's it. That's all she got.
Okay, I wrote down these stages. I would like, or yeah, I wrote down these stages. You can analyze them.
Yes.
So this is kind of like how I describe the romantic partnership growth gap. So stage one is you start editing yourself.
Yeah.
You stop talking about the business,
Yep.
you downplay your wins, and you have two versions of your day, like the one that you lived and the one you share at dinner.
Yes.
Second version is you become their ceiling, usually, right? So, like, you don't mean to, but you kind of become the standard that they measure themselves against every day. And then most people over time cannot sustain that standard. And again, this sounds similar in friendships. We talked about this, but again, think about it.
Then
And
what that feels like is you don't feel like you're liked.
yeah, right, right. Um, but they don't resent you. They like resent what you're representing
Yeah.
because ultimately it's like what, yeah. Then stage three is when intimacy starts to change a little bit, right? Even like the emotional intimacy. I don't even just mean sex. I mean like the emotional intimacy is different too because there's no vulnerability because no one feels safe. And so like the sex feels different. And then stage four is you start parenting versus partnering a lot of times.
I
So
thankfully never had a ton of that,
thank God for you. But I
but
have
that does
seen
happen.
this. Yeah, where like you almost, well, think about it like this. So parenting, not even always in like, oh, let me like really help you, but you basically start managing like their emotions a little bit more. Or you have to shrink to kind of like give them more space.
Yeah.
Or you start to feel responsible for their self-esteem,
Yes.
you know? And then the last stage is just like just the resentment kind of becomes the base of everything. They don't feel like they're enough. They feel like they can't be everything that you are. And then ultimately it typically like falls apart. But I
Yeah.
bring that up in terms of stages just because I really do think there's a lot of people that are listening to this right now that probably should not be in relationships they are, but they feel like they can't leave because they're stuck, or this is what they're going to get, or I can't start over in my 30s or 40s or whatever. Who fucking cares, man? I would rather be single for another 20 years than have to sit in a complacent ass relationship for any amount of time.
Yes.
Like,
And
no.
it's wild too. You look back and you reflect,
Yeah.
like the standards of behavior that I'm willing to tolerate now, and the things that and again, not to say that this was not a bad man,
No.
but the things that I used to justify what I was feeling emotionally or not getting or unable to ask for in that situation was justified. I justified it by what is, I'm realizing, bare minimum behavior. Like you were just a decent person. Like you just had my back the way a friend would. You filled in the gaps. You helped through a hard time when my dad was sick, or what have you. And it's like that's just like what a normal human would have done.
You'd think.
You'd think, but that goes to show how so many of us have just, we praise the bare minimum.
I know.
And I'm like shook. I am shooketh.
I am shooketh.
Because
I
I'm like
know.
reflecting back and I'm like, oh, but so and so did this and this happened and this was so great. And then my friend's like, bare minimum. And I'm like, oh, yeah, good point. Good point. And so it is interesting because you kind of make yourself smaller, and then because you don't want to rock the boat, you don't want to hurt somebody, right? I think people also don't want to be the person that has to end the relationship. I had to be that person, right? And admittedly, my former partner did say, I understand why you did what you did. I really didn't give you much of a choice. Lovely. So that does happen, unfortunately. And then you just get to this point where you're like, my peace is not worth trying to justify somebody else's actions.
No.
I did that for so many years, made myself small, pretended like I needed less, tried to literally had myself convinced that I needed less emotionally and mentally,
I
and
mean,
was
yeah.
making myself small. And then that leaks into every area of your life, including your business.
Oh, for sure. You can't be in like a really unstable, unhealthy, unfulfilling, put whatever word you want to. Like, you can't have that to come home to every day
And
and then
it's
jump in your, yeah, it doesn't work. And I just think that's so important because really complacency is where everything dies. It is. And I think that people are so afraid of just sitting in their thoughts, being alone, confrontation, whatever. And I just want to say, like, I don't know, don't be the friend that just ghosts somebody. At least have the decency to like talk to them. And if you're having any kind of, if any of this resonated whatsoever, relationship, whatever, like bring it up.
Yeah.
Because a breakup doesn't have to be somebody cheated. It's like if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. And oftentimes, what made sense 5 years ago, I mean,
Mhm.
like we talked about, if you're both growing, but you're growing apart, it doesn't work. If you're growing together, cool, but like that's really rare.
Yeah. And
Like it is.
it does take so much effort and intention to do that, right? To have that, to just be aware of that. And how to and it is tough because sometimes you don't notice the drift.
Sure.
You don't notice the drift, right?
Especially when
Because
you're busy.
you're busy, but you're also you look at people when you have heart of I love the people in my life, you always look for the best and you look for the route of repair as often as you possibly can,
Hmm.
right? That's just what happens when you give a shit,
Hmm.
unfortunately. And sometimes it can bite you in the ass. So that's where you have to have such clear values for yourself and values of behavior that you're willing to accept from the people in your life, friendships, business partnerships, romantic relationships, even family relationships. You have to have such a clear picture in your mind of what you will and will not tolerate, and then act accordingly. Like
Yeah.
sit up straight and get your shit together and
And
communicate
really,
or
well,
disengage.
I think people need to really evaluate how others are adding value to their life, right? Which I know can sound really selfish, but I've always been the friend that people come to for advice, which I always will be, and that's totally fine. But when I think about, you know, the other side of that, or when I think about the value that they're bringing to my life, like if I'm always helping this person, I'm always lifting them up, yet that person isn't able to kind of reciprocate, like that's where I think I need to be just more self-aware moving forward because while I can't say that either of these instances were obvious to me at all, I mean, remove yourself long enough and you're kind of like, okay, I could maybe see this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But, I
And
think,
this also isn't to say like cut people out of your life always.
sure,
But there
no,
are relationships and friendships that will evolve to be closer and they might evolve to have a little bit more distance.
agreed,
And
agreed,
And sometimes that just means that you reach out less, you engage less, you don't
totally.
maybe message this person first all the time, and you let them come to you. And that's okay because people do also have different needs for closeness, right? Not every relationship is going to be the same, but you can evaluate and have a more secure. Can you tell I just read about attachment theory? Um, have a more secure relationships in your life if you assign the appropriate effort and weight to people who either trigger you or don't trigger you. Like if someone's making you feel like crazy and you're like, why am I always putting in the effort? Why am I always chasing? Right. Or if somebody is sort of smothering you and like interacting with you in ways that you don't want, then you have to say something, right? You can't just sit on it and then say, oh, this person is so and so, I can't be friends with them. And I'm like, that's a real good way to like be lonely.
I mean, yes, like
Oh,
I think bottom line is just make sure anyone listening to this, the right people really do show up when you're in the right rooms. And so, like I mentioned earlier in the very beginning, you don't need to just have every single friend who's identical to you and your ambition, right? It's okay to have the friends from high school and college that went different paths. That's totally fine. But I really do believe that you are like the average of
your
your
closest
friend
circle.
group. Yeah, like that is so true. And if you're the most ambitious, you're the most successful, so to speak, whatever that looks like to you, then who's challenging you? Like who's hyping you up, right? Um, and I'm really grateful that I'm in a place where my group is so small and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm so okay with that. I hate that everybody lives in a different state, but like whatever, we're all busy. Even if we lived in the same fucking city, I don't think that I mean I'd see you more than like twice a year, but like I don't know that it would be like all that frequent. But either way, it's like I just love that there's never a question of where we stand, how we're feeling, what's going on. If I don't hear from you for a few weeks, I'm not like, oh my God, something's crazy, you know? It's just easy.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
But
People always want to know about my dating life. What do you want to tell them?
you wouldn't believe me even if I said anything.
All right.
Like the people would not believe me.
I
it
mean,
needs
don't act like I have a dating life. Don't act like
it needs like a book.
dude, I think I mean I've gone on some dates. Like but
It's just listen. Or I said something almost not nice,
oh,
but I think that dating for you is like an Olympic sport.
which one?
It's a great question.
It's got to be a long distance.
What?
Like there's a lot of endurance.
Cross country skiing, maybe? It's
Maybe. Okay.
like cross country skiing.
Hmm. Okay.
You train years for it,
Dude, I trained so many years for it.
and you still don't know if you're going to medal.
Listen, I'm getting the medal.
But
Close
my
one,
God,
close
we're
lost.
hoping.
You know, it's so funny how I'm like so quick to cut people off and then others I'm just not. Listen, has who has better stories than me for you?
No,
Right.
no,
Right.
this is like my soap opera. I don't watch Love Island. I just wait for Taylor to send me a voice note.
Right. I mean, listen, m- if you had to describe, okay, like truly though, if you think about like me and the person that I'm with, like end up with,
Yeah.
what does this look like aesthetically? Like I just want to know what you picture. Like, what does that look like? This is
Wait,
like
how do I be specific without being too specific?
I'm not asking if it
Like
like needs to be a certain
it's
person. I
it's
just mean
not it's
aesthetically.
not listen, if you got it's not going to be what the people expect.
I
You know,
know, but I think the
like
people need to hear what's what you're about to describe. Actually, I don't know what you're gonna say.
it's going to be like
Like when
goth.
you think about like the engagement photos or whatever, like what am I seeing in these photos?
Just had a funny thought. I won't say it out loud. Uh it's going to be like goth like Wonder Woman because Taylor's like fucking jacked, right? Like
Yeah.
we are bicep. Um and she has great hair and Taylor has great hair. And the outfits are on point
Okay.
with Jack Skellington if he played the drums. It,
Honestly,
but that's
that's
what it's going to be.
that's still okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you
And
think
he's wearing a turtleneck
not a turtleneck?
for the effect for
Just
the full booty boy vibe.
I don't fucking see that. See, I really think that it's gonna be. I really picture like
It's
this.
golden retriever energy for you.
Mm.
Like likes nobody but you.
Yeah, no, that is
Is that
yeah.
a Doberman?
I'm just laughing at that.
Literally, like everybody else can get fucked except for you.
You know, that's been said to me. So
Yeah,
yeah, like that's okay.
I think that's fine.
Um, if you had to describe who you think my husband is going to be in 3 words, what would you say?
Moody as fuck.
That's so many words.
That was 3 words.
You're right. Okay. You right though.
Gonna
Aren't you
be
so glad you read this book recently? I will say though, like there can never be just now that this has kind of happened along with the last like 4 years of my dating life, it's like how am I supposed to fucking open Hinge?
no. Don't do
No.
it.
Yeah. People are
Sucks.
very I think people are more confused now.
I don't know that Hinge sucks because of my experience on Hinge because I will not touch the apps with a 10-foot pole, but I have swiped Taylor's Hinge and it sucks.
Hinge is not good, people. Like, don't use it. But all I'm
Safe out
saying
there.
is I just can't wait until I can tell people that I not only scaled my business with the DMs, but got my husband in the DMs too.
Did.
So,
Bill.
I don't know. Like, that's it. Is there anything, if people were to ask you, like, what type of men I'm into, what would you say? Because honestly, I don't feel like I have a type. If you were to line every motherfucker up, like, there isn't a type. Have you seen my college boyfriend? Well, he kind of I showed you that picture. Okay, that's a weird
Hello,
one.
Christine.
Did you see my middle name?
That's my middle name to you.
Okay, now people know that too.
Whoa, whoops. Your type
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
generally
Yeah.
current state and
Yeah.
recent state of
Yeah.
affairs, emotionally unavailable.
It's such a good challenge.
And then, but there's like they're emotionally unavailable asterisk,
I know. I know. I know.
but like visually, no, you don't have a type.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Like here, yes. Like mentally and emotionally.
I'm a brain person. You know what I'm
And they
saying?
are they're very deep individuals.
Oh my God. Listen,
Like
did I
with
tell you
that
about what the guy at the coffee shop? Elena's digging a hole right now. They are so deep. See, here's
so
the
deep
thing. I think what people need to know about me is that I'm a hopeless romantic.
you are.
Like
See, marshmallow,
you what?
marshmallow.
Listen, if it's not like the best, like soap opera type of Netflix shit, I don't want it. Like I want the handwritten love letters, okay? And you know what? It's fine. I'm just gonna keep going that way. I think I've listened to this music for too long. Okay. Listen to emo music for too long, you
And
know?
they have to match the energy.
You do.
To match the
Okay,
mood.
but did I tell you about what this random dude at the coffee shop told me about who I should end up with? Okay, I'm gonna tell you
Oh,
this story. This is how
okay.
we're gonna end because I think this is funny. So I joke that I am in the like barista community because I just, know everybody at the coffee shops. Anyway, there's a man that goes to the coffee shop that I frequent. He's married, kids, super nice though. And I don't even know how dating came up, but somehow it came up. And he was like, Taylor, you know who I see you with? He's like, it's not an entrepreneur, it's not any of this. He's like, I think that you need to be with like a musician. And I was like, why do you think that, man? He was just like, well, they need their alone time. They're really creative. They're deep. They obviously like have the emotional bandwidth. He's like, it might take a minute to get them to like open up to that. But I was like, that's no one has ever said that to me from
But it
just
makes
like
sense.
knowing me at a coffee shop.
Yeah,
So, that's it. Um, but you're right. I need to write a book one day.
you do.
You're gonna be in it.
Okay.
So, moral of the story, guys, don't fucking date losers. Friendships can evolve, but if they end, it's not always on you. However, I will say every single time a friendship has ended, I do so much self-reflection, right? Because I'm like, okay, well, what could I have maybe done? But
You also
ultimately,
don't just like let it die. Like you tried.
you right. You right.
You
But
right. And
I know, but I can't fight with a fucking email, Elena. Like, what's to do with that? A fucking email? I can't do anything with that.
Yeah.
So all I have to say is just like be okay with your circle getting smaller. Because I've known a lot of girls that had really big friend groups, and once their career really started picking up, no matter what you're doing, you just realize how many people truly are intimidated by success.
Mm,
And for me, I think like the biggest sign is if I'm in rooms where we're just like shit talking and gossiping, that's just not rooms I want to be in, you know?
no,
Also, if a friend is talking shit about other friends to you, she's talking shit about you to them. That's it.
yes.
The end. So basically, Elena and I need to do a podcast on random shit about each other because I feel like we just half-assed talking about my dating for the last 5 minutes, but it's fine. Can't
Listen,
wait. What?
there's only so much we can say.
I'm not saying shit. People can be super confused after this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
It's okay to be confused every now and then.
I know. This light is kind of crazy right now. Look at
I
this.
know.
Like what's happening? Okay, well, I'm gonna like bother you later, but thanks for hanging out with me and talking about
Yay.
friendship breakups and other breakups because the ladies need to be aware.
The breakups are a thing. And yes, be on guard,
I'm dead.
be aware,
That's the final phrase. Be on guard and be aware.
be safe out there, friends.